Chullin Daf Kuf. When people go for smicha or abanos, they learn our sugya for weeks upon weeks, and we had the schus to learn the sugya for 3 days. Today is the last day in the sugya of Tarevas. And today we're going to learn new concepts, the concept of chaticha nasis nevela, efshel sachtei aser, isur davok even. We're going to learn a little bit about min b'minoi v'davar acher, a lot of fun stuff. So it says in the Mishnah that if a gid hanasha falls into a pot with kosher food and imparts flavor to the rest of the food, the other food becomes treif. And the question is, why doesn't the other food be mevatel the gid hanasha beroiv? Like we say in all the Torah, achri rabim lahatois, bitul beroiv. And the Gemara says there's 3 ideas why that doesn't happen here. Number 1, because a gid hanasha is a bria. It's its own entity. It's a full entity, just like an ant is its own entity. A gid hanasha is its own entity, and an entity is not batel beroiv. Or something that you sell as a unit, you count it. I'm selling you 1 thing, 2, 3, a dozen. That's something that is not batel beroiv. Or something that you mechabed your guest with could be something that's not batel beroiv. Remeir says a statement. He says, "Darkoi limanois loinis batel." Something that you typically count, you cannot be mevatel. So it's the machlekes Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish what he meant. Rabbi Yochanan says he meant it's only something that you exclusively sell as a unit, and you never sell it by weight or any other way. And Rish Lakish says no. Remeir said even if you only sometimes sell it by unit, it's also something that's not batel beroiv. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, in our Mishnah, it says that a piece of nevela is not batel. Why not? Because a piece of nevela, sometimes you sell it by weight and sometimes you sell it by unit. And according to Rabbi Yochanan, it has to be something that you exclusively sell by unit. The answer is because he's going to use the other concept. Meat is something you give to your guest. According to some Rishonim, it has to be an exact piece. It can't be too large. That's not something you give to your guest. According to other Rishonim, it has to be something cooked already. Regardless, we're talking about meat that you give to your guest. And the Mishnah brings a case of a gid hanasha that's misbatel or not misbatel, in a case of nevela, to tell us these 2 halachas, that a gid hanasha is a bria by itself and meat is something you give to your guest. And now we're going to learn about chaticha nasis nevela. What does that mean? When something cooks, a kosher piece of meat cooks with a nevela, you could view it in one way, that the kosher piece of meat just got some nevela to it, or you can view it as the kosher piece of meat just turned into a shtik nevela, meaning that this piece of nevela could create other treifus, etc. And that usually goes hand in hand with the concept of the efshel sachtei aser, meaning that once a piece of meat becomes treif, you can't squeeze out of it the iser. It's aser and it's aser forever, even if you cook it up in 60 and you try to be mevatel the flavor. Rabbi Chana got up one day and he said a statement that Rav did not like at all. He said that if a piece of meat fell into a pot with 60 kosher pieces of meat and soup, etc., that 60 in the pot is mevatel everything. Nothing becomes treif at all. Obviously, the original piece that fell in remains treif, but nothing in the pot becomes treif. Because Rabbi Chana holds that min b'minoi batel. In other words, since the meat in the pot is like the meat that fell in, it has the power to be mevatel the meat that fell in. Not like Rabbi Yehuda that says min b'minoi loy batel. Now it's mashma from Rabbi Chana's words that even if you were to cook the nevela with 1 piece of kosher meat, and that kosher piece of meat obviously became treif, and then later on you added a bunch of kosher meat to it, you could undo the damage you've caused to the kosher piece of meat that became treif. It becomes untreif. Rav said we have to put somebody up to give a drush and say that the halacha is not like this. Why? Because once the original piece of meat got flavor from the nevela, how did it get flavor? Either Isser Davuk, says Rashi. He doesn't say it in those words, but he says that they were touching each other. Isser Davuk means when 1 piece of treif meat touches a piece of kosher meat, that kosher piece of meat cannot become batel in 60 because it's touching. Or that he cooked the 1 piece of meat by itself with an nevela, so then it got the flavor, and then he put it in a pot with other meat. Says Rav, efshel sachtei aser. You can never get rid of that flavor, of that isser from that piece of meat, and memela, everything in the pot remains aser. Also says Rav, I don't hold like Rabbanan, I hold like Rabbi Yehuda, that min b'minoi loy batel. So if min b'minoi loy batel, everything remains aser, not like Rabbi Chana said. Now, the Gemara just questions, why does Rav have to say 2 things? Min b'minoi loy batel, that would be enough. Min b'minoi loy batel. Why does he have to add and say that it has it imparted flavor. So we have two beautiful tirutzim here in the Gemara from Abaye and Rava. Abaye says, because we're talking about a case where he cooked one piece of meat with an nevela, and then he got rid of the nevela. And then he took that one piece of kosher meat that turned into nevela later on in its life, and he put it in a pot full of kosher meat. Since it got flavor from the nevela, it has the power to make everything in the pot treif. But had it not received flavor from the original piece of nevela, then it wouldn't be able to make the rest of the pot treif. Rava says, a new concept. Min v'minoi v'dover acher. What's going on here? Like you see in the picture here. You have the nevela, number 1, and the piece of kosher meat, number 2, and you have all the soup, which is number 3. When you have those 3 things together, a min and minoi, and dover acher means she'enoi minoi, the soup is not the same min as the meat. So you don't say that 1 and 2 gang up against 3, or that 2 and 3 gang up against 1 to make it kosher. What do? You take number 2, you pretend it's not in existence at all. It's gone. And you see, do you have enough soup to make the nevela batal b'roiv or not? But if it imparted flavor, like Rav says, 1 imparted flavor to 2, so now 1 and 2 could gang up against number 3, the soup. Says the Mishnah. The review that holds that gid hanasha is also on a treif animal, say a rhinoceros. If you eat the gid hanasha of a rhinoceros, you're over on 2 things, on a behemoth tmeya and a gid hanasha, because review that holds that gid is nice and tam, it gives off flavor, so therefore the gid hanasha of a rhinoceros is usher because of a behemoth tmeya, because if it didn't have flavor, it wouldn't be usher at all, even on a behemoth tmeya. And you can be over on 2 isurim, and we're going to see why. He says, because gid hanasha was previous to the Torah. It was before the Torah. In other words, Bnei Noach, when Klal Yisrael weren't even a nation, they were called Bnei Noach, they were also gid hanasha, like it said in the Torah, Alkin lo yochlu Bnei Yisrael's gid hanasha by Yaakov Avinu in the fight with the Malach. Chacham say, no, Alkin lo yochlu Bnei Yisrael only was written by Matan Torah. And it's a story that happened. The Torah is telling us what happened. Why are we usher today? Because Yaakov had a fight with a Malach years ago. But not that it was usher years ago. So, on the one hand, Rabbi Yehuda holds that ein iser chalal iser. You see, by a bird, if you eat a non-kosher bird, you don't become tamei according to Rabbi Yehuda. Your begadim don't become tamei. Why? Because ein iser chalal iser. You can't apply one iser on top of another iser. On the other hand, he holds that if you eat a behemoth tamei, a gid hanasha behemoth tamei, you chayiv 2 malchus. So what's going on here? Says the Gemara, because gid hanasha is an extremely strong iser. It's so strong according to Rabbi Yehuda that it already was usher before the Torah was given. So even though the animal became tamei and usher when the second was conceived, and only months later the gid hanasha arrived, the gid hanasha could apply itself over and on top of the isser behemoth tmeya because it's a very strong isser. Have a wonderful day.